Dear Heavenly Father,
Lieber himmlischer Vater,
we thank you once again for this day.
wir danken dir ein weiteres Mal für diesen Tag.
Thank you for the nice weather.
Danke für das schöne Wetter
Thank you for all that we could do in your strength.
und danke für alles, was wir in deiner Kraft tun konnten.
Thank you for the trials that you allowed to come upon us.
Danke für all die Prüfungen, die du über uns bringst.
And we ask and pray now as we open your word to study
Wir bitten und beten, dass wenn wir jetzt dein Wort öffnen, um zu studieren,
that you would make our hearts soft to receive your word with joy and gladness.
dass du unser Herz erweichen würdest, dass wir es mit Freude und Zuversicht annehmen.
Please help us to understand your word
Hilf uns, dein Wort zu verstehen
and that it would fall into the deep recesses of our hearts
und dass es in die tiefen Orte unseres Herzens fallen würde,
so that we would bring your word into the practical application of our lives
so dass wir auch dein Wort in die praktische Anwendung unseres Lebens bringen können.
and that we would be truly sanctified by your truth.
Und dass wir wahrlich durch deine Wahrheit auch geheiligt sein können.
So please bless Brother Lorenz now,
So segne Bruder Lorenz jetzt.
and we ask and pray in Jesus' name.
Wir bitten und beten all dies in diesem Namen.
Amen.
Amen. Right. So let's turn to early writings 54.
So lasst uns zum Frühschriften 54 gehen. Diejenigen, die Zugang haben zu den Schriften.
Also just posted.
Das wird auch gepostet. So.
Right, so let us read through this vision once more.
So lasst uns durch diese Vision mal lesen.
And let us read one paragraph each.
Jeweils ein Absatz werden wir lesen.
Okay. Brahma, you want to start?
I saw a throne, and on it sat the Father and the Son. I gazed on Jesus' countenance, and admired his lovely person. The Father's person I could not behold, for a cloud of glorious light covered him. I asked Jesus if his Father had a form like himself. He said he had, but I could not behold it. For, said he, if you should once behold the glory of his person, you would cease to exist. Before the throne I saw the Advent people, the church and the world. I saw two companies, one bowed down before the throne, deeply interested, while the other stood uninterested and careless. Those who were bowed before the throne would offer up their prayers and look to Jesus. Then he would look to his Father and appear to be pleading with him. A light would come from the Father to the Son, and from the Son to the praying company. Then I saw an exceeding bright light come from the Father to the Son, and from the Son it waved over the people before the throne. But few would receive this great light. Many came out from under it, and immediately resisted it. Others were careless and did not cherish the light, and it moved off from them. Some cherished it, and it went and bowed down with the little praying company. This company all received the light and rejoiced in it, and their countenances shone with its glory.
Okay.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, we will discuss this vision now. This paragraph.
Listen, can I make a comment?
Yes.
Okay. When you go to because I don't know what you plan on doing, but I have an idea that that's what we discussed this morning, but the shaken vision.
Also die Vision von der Sichtung.
The shaken vision has all the elements that are written in there.
So die Vision von der Sichtung hat all denselben Merkmalen, die hier in diesen Absatz, die wir eben gelesen haben.
says careless and uninterested light comes down. All those things are
Also
all
die sorglos und uninteressiert, das Licht zu ihnen kommt und all diese anderen Sachen, die sind alle da.
So just to remind you of that point when you look at that.
Yes. Okay. So, alright, what can we see in this vision?
So, was können wir hier soweit in dieser Vision sehen?
Two companies,
As we see these two companies, right?
Zwei Gruppen.
And
one bowed down, one careless and uninterested.
yes,
Einer
exactly.
ist niedergebeugt und der andere sorglos und uninteressiert.
And we understand this is right here at the end,
Wir
right?
verstehen, dass das hier am Ende ist.
But what I drew out here is this fractal, right?
Also was ich hier unten ausgemalt habe, ist diesen Fraktal hier,
This final fractal.
diese letzte Fraktal.
Oh, so you want to just move the pulpit? Just have the just
Okay.
flash it.
Yes.
Und der-
Just write down here Waco.
hier in dem Waco.
So, yeah, and we still have to more fully prove this fractal, but at the moment it seems to hold true.
Und wir müssen diese untere Fraktal hier noch mehr prüfen, aber bislang scheint es so zu passen.
Okay, so, right, this is right here beginning with midnight when the prediction is given,
Das fängt gerade hier am Mitternacht, wo diese Vorhersage gegeben wird.
and then here we understand the prediction comes true, right? This is
Hier verstehen wir, dass diese Vorhersage zutrifft.
like August 11th, 1840, for
Wie
instance.
das 11. August 1840 zum Beispiel hier.
Okay, and was there another prediction coming true on this waymark?
Gab es eine weitere Vorhersage, die hier an diese Wegmarke zutraf? Johannes hat gepredigt, dass Christus kommen wird als des Messias.
Right. What prediction was this?
So, welche Vorhersage war das?
Yes,
16
Daniel 9.
Jahre.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Okay, also Daniel 9, die 69 Wochen.
The Messiah should appear after 69 weeks.
Der
Right?
Messias wird nach 69 Wochen erscheinen.
And another one?
Ein weiteres?
Yes, exactly.
Also das Erlassen der Gefangenen.
And line of the three decrees, Cyrus, when he made the first decree, was the end of the 70 years.
So in der Linie von Ezra, also von den 3 Dekreten, Kyros, wenn er sein Dekret gemacht hat, das markierte das Ende von 70 Jahren Gefangenschaft.
Yes, so we have the 3 witnesses that the prediction comes true at this moment.
So wir haben da 3 Zeugen, die beweisen, dass hier an dieser Wegmarke eine Vorhersage zutrifft.
Okay, so and in this vision we read that these two companies before the throne, one receives the light and the others are just careless and not interested. Right?
Und diese 2 Gruppen vor dem Thron, der eine Gruppe hat dieses Licht erhalten und die anderen waren einfach sorglos und uninteressiert.
Okay, and we looked at this, what is the light in comparison to the exceeding bright light?
Und wir haben das bereits angeschaut, aber was ist das Licht in Bezug zu das äußerst helles Licht?
Yes,
Das ist das Frühregen.
so the former rain followed by the latter rain.
Das
right?
Frühregen vom Spätregen gefolgt.
So, and we saw, right, let's go to Joel chapter 2, remind ourselves.
Lasst uns zum Joel Kapitel 2, nur zur Erinnerung.
Let's read verse 23.
Joel 2, Vers 23.
It says, Be glad then, ye children of Zion, and rejoice in the Lord your God, for he hath given you the former rain moderately, and he will cause to come down for you the rain the former rain and the latter rain in the first month. Okay, and we understand in Hosea chapter 6 it says he will come on the third day as the former and the latter rain. Right?
Hosea 6, es sagt, am dritten Tag wird er als Früh- und Spätregen kommen.
So right here at the beginning he gives you the former rain,
So gerade hier am Anfang gibt das Frühregen
and at the end he gives the former plus the latter.
und am Ende gibt er das Frühregen und das Spätregen.
Okay, and it's the principle that always the light that comes before is always the former, and the light that comes at the end is always the latter.
Das ist immer ein Prinzip, dass das Licht zuerst, der kommt, ist das Frühregen oder das Vorherige, und das Licht, der am Ende kommt, ist das Spätregen oder das Letzte.
Because we read already, we looked at this is the beginning and this is the end, right?
Wir haben bereits gelesen, das hier ist das Anfang, das ist das Ende.
And Christ says, I'm the Alpha and the
Christus sagt, ich bin Alpha und
Omega.
Omega.
And he's the former and the latter, right?
Er ist das Vorherige und das Spätere.
And so therefore, the beginning is always the former and the end is always the latter.
Das Anfang ist immer das Vorherige, das Ende ist das Letzte.
Yes, but we see at the end, it's just this repeating fractal that he also again sends to you the former and the latter.
Aber am Ende ist diese wiederholende Fraktal, dass er wieder den Früh- und Spätregen sendet.
Okay. So, and therefore, what we suggest is that when this latter rain comes, it first comes as this light, and then this exceeding bright light.
So, was wir vorschlagen ist, dass wenn diesen Spätregen kommt, es kommt zuerst als dieses Licht und dann dieser äußerst helles Licht.
I have a little bit difficulty with this thought that the predictions given at midnight. You know what I mean? So I remember when I initially brought this thought forward, I put it, and I have to go back and check that the 10 days before in Millerite history, it's when Josiah Litch got the light about the prediction, so he gave it before the event came to pass. So I was marking this 10 days before.
Bruder Mark sagt so, obwohl ich das selber hier markiert habe, ich habe meine Schwierigkeiten mit diesen Vorhersage am Mitternacht, denn wie Josiah Litch, der hat 10 Tage vor 11. August 1840 die Vorhersage gegeben, also das würde denn für mich das Licht markieren.
And what I was making, if I remember rightly, I was taking that 10 days, and I was saying that this was a little fractal of the midnight cry, which was marked as 10 days, right? It was like a smaller and a bigger fractal.
Und was ich getan habe, ist, ich diese 10 Tage genommen habe und ich habe sie parallel gesetzt. Did you say midnight and final review? Also diese Mitternachtsruf bis zur finalen Untersuchung, diese 10 Tage.
So I just have a bit of a difficulty saying that at midnight the light that comes as the prediction, you're given the prediction. I mean, it was given before, right? There's always time before it comes to pass.
I mean, in Millerite history was given 2 times, right? One time the brief prediction and one time the detailed prediction.
Yes, but they were both given before, that's my point.
Yes. So the thought is whether at the moment we just give the brief prediction and
In der Miller-Geschichte war eine allgemeine Vorhersage gesagt und dann gerade kurz davor ein genaueres Vorhersage gesagt, und die Frage ist, ob wir denn diesen Muster denn auch befolgen würden.
Well, I've just wrote 47 pages, I don't think that's a brief description.
never know what or review on detail.
Look, the brief description was back in 2016 when we said at midnight there would be a strike by Islam. We said that a couple of years ago now.
Also Bruder Mark meinte, dass diese allgemeine Vorhersage war 2016. Wir haben seit 2 Jahren gesagt, dass es einen Anschlag von Islam geben wird. Aber das, was wir eben gegeben haben als Vorhersage, wäre denn das genauer?
Yes, I mean the point that would speak for it that it is already midnight.
Also das wäre denn dafür sprechen, dass es bereits Mitternacht ist.
No, the point I want to make no point.
Also der Punkt, den ich jetzt machen möchte, wäre denn dafür sprechen, dass es Mitternacht bereits ist.
In the sense that because she says this vision commenced at the midnight cry.
Weil sie sagt hier, dass diese Vision fängt am Mitternachtsruf an.
No, I've got a problem with this diagram. I've got a problem just saying, I can't get in my head that that's you giving the prediction here. That's all I'm saying.
Also ich habe kein Problem mit dieser Darstellung. Ich habe nur ein Problem, dass wir hier markieren, dass hier die Vorhersage gegeben wird.
You just repeated it.
It just, like, I realize that I get this point that the vision commences, right?
Also ich stimme diesen Punkt überein, dass der Vision fängt an.
Okay, so the vision commences with light followed by an exceeding light.
Es fängt an mit Licht und darauf äußerst helles Licht.
And although I may not agree with his description of what he's saying, but I agree with the principle that what we've done now might be a light that comes before, and this might be something else. I could possibly assent
Also
to that.
ich stimme dazu, dass was wir gerade gegeben haben, mag vielleicht Licht sein und es kommt noch was dazu.
But I just struggle with this concept that that's the prediction. You've got to always give it beforehand.
Aber ich habe
Maybe
Schwierigkeiten.
it's right.
Ich habe Schwierigkeiten damit, dass das die Vorhersage ist, denn vielleicht ist es richtig, aber für mich ist es die Vorhersage kommt davor.
Why would it?
I mean,
Why would it be
this
not
was the
before? I
That's
mean,
what
what I would ask, why you say if you mark it that it's not being given before? Because there's
Yeah,
space
because-
between it.
Okay, but you could feel like if I stand next to you and I'm a centimetre away, there's space that
Yeah, but the time between there where they will surround you
That's
and
a
put you
trial,
on the
that's-
trial,
yes.
that's not going to be second, right?
Also diese Zeitperiode zwischen dieser Wegmarke und dieser Wegmarke, es gibt ein Verhör, die auf uns zukommen wird und das wird wohl nicht einfach mal eine Millisekunde sein oder eine sehr kleine Raumzeit.
Prüfung. Nicht Verhör. Prüfung.
Trial ist ein Verhör.
Prüfung.
Also eine Prüfung, nicht ein Verhör.
No, I get that. I have no problem with that. But what I'm saying is, in Millerite history, the light that came to Josiah, which is clearly marked 10 days before. It's not
Also
marked
das-
on August 11th, day before.
10 days
Das-
before it comes to pass.
Das Licht, den Josiah Litch erhalten hat, war 10 Tage vor Mitternacht. Es war nicht
So
an
when we
Mitternacht.
put the Millerite line on the bottom line, August 11th would be exceeding bright light and prediction being given prior.
Also wenn wir das Miller-Linie hier unten legen würden, dann das wäre das 11. August, wo das äußerst helles Licht ist und die Vorhersage wäre dann den 10 Tagen zuvor.
Because the seven thunders have to fit in this line also.
Weil die 7 Donnern muss auch in diese Linie einpassen.
I mean,
You've got to follow the same thing. That what the point I'm making in Millerite history,
Yes?
it was a different waymark. 10 days before is a different waymark. It's
Yeah.
not August 11th, day before.
It's the light, it's not the exceeding bright light.
Also er spricht von, es ist das Licht, es ist nicht das äußerst helles Licht, es wäre dann diese Wegmarke.
Because we also said that the exceeding bright light marks August 11th.
Denn wir haben gesagt, dass das äußerst helles Licht markiert 11. August.
So August 11th, the prediction coming true is this waymark where Lorenz prediction comes true.
Also
10 days
11.
prior to it will be given.
11. August markiert der Punkt hier, wo Lorenz hier das Vorhersage kommt zustande geschrieben hat.
Put the 10 days on the Millerite line and you get what I'm saying.
So, lege den 10 Tagen auf der Miller-Linie und dann werdet ihr verstehen, was ich meine.
so this would be the
Okay,
10
what's
days.
wrong
right?
with that?
So, womit
That's not the same.
The
Was
thing is that in
stimmt
the
damit
right line,
nicht?
it's not really a
When
waymark.
yes, you don't put it on the Millerite line.
Aber auf der
right?
Miller-Linie, das ist nicht seine Wegmarke.
The point I'm making, right? It's not August 11th, 1840, right?
Der
It's
Punkt,
a
den ich,
different
Yes.
point in time.
der
I mean,
Punkt,
that-
den ich
that
mache,
would
es
be
ist nicht
August-
11. August 1840, es ist ein anderer Punkt.
That would be August 12th.
Das wäre dann der 1. August und das wäre dann August 11.
So
Okay, but look, you guys are just not getting something, right? Look, when you take those 2 points, it goes to midnight. Doesn't mark the same.
It just shows you that midnight has a sequence of events.
Yes.
Also wenn du diesen beiden Punkten nimmst, die beide gehen zur Mitternacht, also und das zeigt nur, dass es eine Reihenfolge von Ereignissen
I will
gibt.
be patient, right? But that's wrong, right? That is not that. It's different. That up there, right, is showing 2 points in time. This down here, what you're trying to do is take 1 point in time and split it. I think it
I
has
could
to be
also make it like this.
Also would be
Okay,
correct,
so
but we
what's-
have no way of doing that.
Also
That's why I'm
das
saying-
hier ist ein Punkt in der Zeit, das sind 2 Punkte in der Zeit, aber ich konnte auch genauso das machen, wie wir hier oben gemacht, weil das ist keine Wegmarke.
Go on, I will explain this. You're reinventing the wheel. That's not correct.
No, I'm just saying, we don't have this waymark, right? There is no waymark like we have written this.
Also
10.
wir haben keine Wegmarke hier, die gibt es nicht, die existiert nicht. Das werde den Muster von den 7 Donnern brechen.
Okay, but what I'm okay, get my point right. When we deal with Millerite line, we never put midnight on there, right?
Wenn wir mit der Miller-Linie
Yes.
umgehen, wir haben nie Mitternacht darauf markiert.
Okay, but now we're dealing with midnight. We take that waymark and we place it on there, right? But it's not the same waymark as the midnight cry. It's definitely a different waymark, right?
Aber jetzt, wo wir Mitternacht verstehen, wir legen Mitternacht darauf, aber es ist auf keinen Fall der Mitternachtsruf, es ist eine andere
Can you say this
Zeitbelegung.
again, please? I didn't understand the last time.
Like, I will say this, the simplest way I know, right? When we're dealing with the 7 thunders on Millerite line, we don't put that line in, right?
Correct.
Wenn wir die 7 Donnern auf der Miller-Linie legen, diese Linie gehört nicht dazu.
But if I take April 19th to October 22nd, and I want to show our line, I will put midnight on there, and now I have the little time of peace, right?
Also, aber wenn ich 19. April bis zur 1844 markiere, dann lege ich Mitternacht darauf und markiere das als der kleine Zeit des Friedens.
Okay, and then I will just parallel it up, right? So I've got the waymark, I've placed it there now, and I place it there now. Now I have a parallel sequence, right? So what I'm saying, if you want to make midnight a parallel to August 11th, 1840, you need to put a waymark there with number 10.
Also wenn du dies mit der Miller-Linie irgendwie gleichstellen musstest, dann musst du hier eine kleine Wegmarke machen mit diese 10 da drin.
Okay, now I give you a thought.
Also jetzt kommt ein Gedanke,
Because in Revelation chapter 2,
weil in Offenbarung 2,
it says in verse 2,
im Vers 2 sagt es,
where it says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold,
To what?
2:10.
also Offenbarung 2, Vers 10.
It says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that they may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give you the crown of life.
Yes.
But these 10 days, right, is where you give the prediction and they mock you and all these things.
10 Tage, das ist, wo du diese Vorhersage gibt und dann verspotten sie dich und all diese
Okay,
anderen
but
Sachen.
what I'm saying, when the perfect fulfillment of that is at the midnight cry.
So now I want to make my point. So the thought that I have is, right, that when you take the middle fractal,
Also wenn du diese mittlere Linie nimmst
and you have 2016 between the Sunday law and midnight, right?
und du den 2016 zwischen der Sonntagsgesetz und Mitternacht hast,
Because you said in 2016 we gave the prediction,
weil
right?
du gesagt hast, dass 2016 wir haben die Vorhersage gegeben.
So and from that point forward there was nothing but a trial,
So von dieser Zeit voran gab es nichts außer eine Prüfung,
which in principle is teaching you these 10 days of tribulation.
was im Prinzip lehrt dich diese 10 Tage des Trübsals.
So we
Different
take
thought.
this principle now.
Different thought. Because at the end, right,
Yeah.
this is a fractal that repeats that on a smaller scale.
Yeah, so that's why I'm asking, can we take now the same principle and repeat it on the
No,
lower
I'm
fractal?
saying that in Millerite history, this 10 days that you don't mark on there normally, you
Because-
have to mark on there, and then you have to bring it down and mark it there. That's what I'm saying.
So
so
diese,
you put a new line, a new waymark in Millerite history.
Just like we put midnight in Millerite history.
But we never do that.
No, yes we do. We don't do it when we're dealing with the Millerite line and the Seven Thunders, but we do when we're marking the little time of peace.
Also wir markieren
Ja, just
Mitternacht
ignore
nicht auf der Millerlinie, wenn wir die Millerlinie als Gesamt betrachten, als 7 Donnern. Aber wenn wir das kleine Zeit des Friedens markieren wollen auf der Millerlinie, wir müssen wohl Mitternacht markieren.
Otherwise we're
Okay.
just making it up.
But when you
It's
take
just
this fractal,
Pulling it off the nail.
but when you take this fractal in the right line, right,
Wenn du diesen Fraktal in der Millerlinie nimmst,
from April 19th to October 22nd, right?
19. April bis zum 1844 da,
Right, and you have that on the middle line, right?
und du hast das hier auf der mittleren Linie,
Sunday law is the 19th of April and October 22nd is the final week. Right?
19. April und
And
1844.
in the middle you have midnight and the midnight cry, which
In
is
der
July
Mittagsstunde.
21st and
Yes.
Mitternachtsruf, das wäre der 21. Juli und 15. August.
so if we take the first box, you have 1831 and 1833.
So, wenn du den ersten Kasten nimmst, da hast du 1831, 1833.
Yes.
So we need to basically find the fractal from 1833 till August 11th in order to find where this
So, wir müssen den Fraktal
is
zwischen
10 days up, you know what I mean?
1833 bis zum 19. April finden, um zu finden, wo wir diese 10
Well,
Tage
that's-
markieren.
That's neither here nor there, that's another thought, and that may
But
well...
this might help to place the 10 days.
I'm not denying that,
I
but
mean,
I'm
I
just...
remember, I think
I placed it
we
once.
placed
yeah.
this
Yes,
here.
yes,
that
yes.
can-
I don't know exactly what I did.
But I'm not arguing that point, and I get that, but I'm just, the only argument I'm making, it's there, right, it's something that happened, so you now when you're using it, you have to bring it in and bring it down to there, that's what I'm saying, it has to be, you can't just ignore it, you can just use it, say, well, we'll just stick it somewhere.
Well, you can't
It
talk
has to-
about it. You need to be specific because I need to translate. I don't know what you're meaning by it. We can't use it.
It's got the whole subject is
So
that
it's-
way mark.
I don't need to be. I just need you to tell me what it is.
I'll say again, the whole subject is about that way mark, right? That's what we're talking about. This. Right, so you can't just you can't refer to Millerite history, have 10 days before August 11th even for them.
Also du kannst nicht Miller-Geschichte nehmen und diesen 10 Tage vor dem 11. August haben
And then come down to our line there and just pretend it's not there.
und dann kommen zu unserer Linie herab und tun wir so, als wäre es nicht da.
Okay, that's my point. And maybe if you're correct, maybe we need to go back and put between 2016 and midnight this little fractal in there and put it in there. And then
Vielleicht
we
ist
have
Fyodor
something to do.
richtig, dass zwischen
Mhm.
2016 und Mitternacht, wir müssen das nochmal prüfen, diese
Ja, es ist-
Fraktal da reinlegen.
Put it in. Okay, so that's 1831.
Das ist 1831,
That's 1833.
33. Das ist 1833,
That was, I think, 1837. right?
das wäre 1837.
But then we also had another application where we then use this fractal here and we
We use
place
1838 also, where he gave the prediction. And
Ah, yes.
1840 where he the 10 days before.
this was definitely here. So that's August 1st.
Yeah, I have the drawing here on my iPad.
What was there?
Let me show you.
Can't be parallel with 1837. They're all on the same thought.
I mean, what I know,
That's how we marked it again.
Would it?
what I did, at least what I
Because
did,
that's
in the
August
class,
11th.
was 1838 each, not 1837. I
Was
never put
ich
anything
in der
in
Klasse
place
gemacht
of
habe, war
1837.
1838.
I'm not saying that's not there, I
No,
just said that I never did it.
We did get a 1837 was is marked on the
charts.
chart.
1837 ist auf die Karte
I
markiert.
just say that from the time when I did it, I can't remember that I used personally 1837.
Right, so when you take that now, that big one there, once you take that, you put it into there, give it 10 days, right, before the end.
10 days. here, right?
Yes, something, that's what I'm saying. You've got this parallel thing to August 11 being 40 days.
Yeah, so the 10 days are from 2016 till midnight. Is
No.
that what you said?
No, I'm not saying that.
What did you say?
Look, if you take this fractal and put it into there, 1837 or whatever it was there, right? You know, okay, I get it if you do that, that would make that the 10 days, but that's not what I'm saying.
Take what fractal?
We'll take this.
No, not that.
The
whole
whole
thing.
fractal and put it from Sunday Lord to midnight.
From
Also diese ganze Fraktal und put it where?
Between Sunday Lord and midnight.
Between, hier rein.
yes.
Also wenn wir das Gesamte hier nehmen und wir setzen es hier rein, dann wäre das Sonntagsgesetz bis zur finale Untersuchung, dann wäre der 10 Tage hier. So. Oder hier.
No, the point is midnight and midnight cry would be 2016. And then you would have a way mark in the middle between.
That would be Midnight Cry.
Mitternacht und Mitternachtsruf wäre dann
That
hier.
would be midnight cry, yeah.
10 days.
Yes, it would be something like that. Yes.
Yeah, that makes things difficult, interesting. So what are the 10 days in our time?
So,
Because it's not 2016.
was wäre denn die 10 Tage in unserer Zeit? Das ist nicht 2016.
It's a period for when you're,
So that's the point where you give predictions.
it's the light and the exceeding
It's
pleasure.
also the point where you to repent, right? Das ist auch der Punkt, wo du Buße tun sollst.
We have
According
to-
to Revelation 2.
No, look, in Millerite history, 10 days before, he got light.
So, in Miller-Geschichte 10 Tage zuvor hat er Licht erhalten.
Okay, it doesn't mention that he got light, but he got understanding, so that's light.
Also das sagt nicht klar heraus, er hat Licht erhalten, aber der hat Verständnis über diese Sachen erhalten und das ist eben Licht.
So that's where he gave the predictions.
So, da hat er den Vorhersage gegeben.
And then now he has this 10 days, which Führer, and I agree with him, used this illustration, this be faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life.
Und
Right?
dann gibt es diese 10 Tage, wo in Offenbarung 2, sei treu bis auf den Tod und du wirst die Krone des Lebens erhalten.
So by the time you give the prediction, because we know that it got published in Millerite history far and wide, and they got brought into trying times.
Wir wissen, dass diese Vorhersage in der Miller-Geschichte, es würde kundgegeben, weit und breit um die Welt und die haben so viel Stress dafür abbekommen.
Right? And then it led to the way mark where it gets fulfilled. August 1140 was exceeding bright and glorious light.
Und das führte zu den Wegmarke, wo die Vorhersage erfüllt wurde, 11. August 1840, das markiert der Erfüllung, wo diese herrliche und glorreiches Licht
So,
zu ihm kam.
so for me now, what you have is this little period there would be this whole fractal.
So
You would
was-
get the whole 7 thunders in that little box.
Für mich, diese kleine Periode hier, wäre denn diese gesamten Fraktal, diese 7 Donnern werden alle hierin passen.
So in that sense, this would be like this, you mean?
Yes.
Das wäre denn in diesem Sinne von hier bis hier und dann von Mitternacht bis zu Ende.
And also,
But then you have to place Isaiah and Ezekiel and all these prophets at this way on where it can begin.
yes,
Aber dann muss man Jesaja und Hesekiel und all diese Propheten an diese Wegmarke markieren.
But that would break the 5th day of the fifth day of the fourth month, right?
Aber das würde dann den 5. Tag des 4. Monats brechen.
good, yes, and that's also another
That's
issue.
a dilemma.
Und das
That's
ist
a
ein Dilemma.
right? So it comes to, okay, now it comes,
Okay, and the other question is, because if we are at the beginning of the 10th day, right, where is your and my Isaiah experience going
Also
on
wenn
with
wir
us?
Anfang des 10. Tages sind, wo sind deine und meine und all unsere Erfahrungen wie Jesaja, wo wir im Staub gedemütigt worden sind?
okay, so this is what comes back to the year we were talking about this morning, right?
Darauf kommt zurück zu unserer Unterhaltung heute Morgen.
Okay, so it all now, we have to, this is this point I was making this morning. You're making this argument, this at the end is the latter rain, right?
Yeah.
Also du hast den Punkt gemacht, dass das das Ende ist, es ist das Spätregen.
But the argument I was making, whenever the latter rain comes, every time, it always brings the former rain.
Aber wenn der Spätregen kommt, jedes Mal, es bringt immer das Früh- und das Spätregen.
Right? So this is another. This is like a trial you go through, but when you come to the end, you have that experience, and it's another little fractal, right?
Also wenn du zum Ende kommst, hast du diese Erfahrung und dann ist es eine weitere Fraktal.
This would be former plus later.
Das wäre dann Früh- und Spätreden.
Yes. That's the point. That's what I think I was sort of alluding to this morning.
Where did you mark
Auf
it?
der Püttelseven von wir sind hier.
Lorenz, where did you wrote the form on Lala, the way my wedding is on that?
Okay, so it's something we have to look at, right? Because
We
it's
look
it's
if-
clearly a dilemma, right?
If we are at this point there, right? So
Also wenn wir an diesem Punkt hier sind,
Yeah,
that's
just
where
maybe
you
that's right.
be tried and put in prison. So unless the police comes in the next couple hours when kicks our doors and focus on the prison, then we wouldn't need it.
I don't think we're going to go to prison.
And it would be a trial. And if we say that they were gonna bring wake up on us, then they're gonna throw us also into jail.
so wenn wir tatsächlich hier stehen, dann das ist der Zeit, wo wir ins Trübsal geworfen werden. Also wenn sie wirklich nicht in den nächsten Stunden kommen und die Türen eintreten und uns möglicherweise auch ins Gefängnis bringen, dann
That might come. You just don't know.
Das
Gotta
mag
keep
sogar
praying for
vielleicht
it
noch
to
kommen.
go, right? I'm sure that something will happen, but I don't know what.
Also ich bin mir sicher, dass irgendetwas passieren wird, ich weiß noch nicht was.
But you see there's a dilemma and that needs to be solved. That's the point.
Also wir sehen auf jeden Fall, dass wir ein Dilemma hier haben und dass es gelöst werden muss. Das steht fest.
Yes. So I would suggest then if we can leave this for now and just go
We'll look at it.
study the things out.
Also ich schlage vor, dass wir das so lassen, wie es steht und dass wir das für uns selbst auch studieren.
And then the Lord will open it up.
Und dann der Herr wird das für uns klarstellen.
I will go back to this when I first brought it in. I had all the notes. I will go back through this again tomorrow morning and we'll look at this.
Und wir werden das morgen früh nochmal anschauen.
Okay. Did everybody else understand what the dilemma is?
Hat jeder hier auch verstanden, was der Dilemma ist?
Okay. So in a sense, if this would be this trying experience, for instance, where Isaiah gets humbled in the dust, holy, holy, holy.
Wenn
right?
das hier diese prüfende Erfahrung sein wird, von Jesaja zum Beispiel, heilig, 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 vor dem Staub gedemütigt ist,
Then, because his experience is a parallel to Ezekiel's experience,
weil
right?
seine Erfahrung ist parallel zu die von Hesekiel
And Ezekiel's experience began on the 5th day of the 4th month.
und die Erfahrung von Hesekiel fängt am 5. Tag des 4. Monats an,
Which would be this way.
was diese Wegmarke ist.
So therefore, this doesn't make sense. But Mark suggests now that we might enter now into this trying experience
It's just a
here.
smaller part from
But
that to that, right?
The true experience, you know, holy, 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 and all these things will take place here at this way mark when the prediction
Der,
comes true. I mean,
der wahre Erfüllung findet hier statt, wo dieser äußerst helles Licht kommt und der Vorhersage zutrifft.
which would be then the parallel to the 5th day of the 4th month.
Das wäre dann der Parallel zum 5. Tag des 4. Monats.
So yeah, we must definitely look into this, and then the Lord will reveal this to us.
So, wir müssen da tiefer hineinschauen, der Herr wird das für uns offenbaren.
Alright. Anyways,
I just want to ask, 1830 was not also like in a sense given the creation because he understood the prophecy.
1838 war das auch nicht, dass er die Vorhersage gegeben hat, weil er die Verheißung da verstanden hat.
But it's 2 years before.
But I mean, how to place this.
No, we did one time. Put it on.
maybe I don't know. I mean, if this would be 1838, it would be a parallel then to this one, right?
Wenn das 1838 ist, dann wäre es ein Parallel dazu.
So I don't know. I have to look at this. Anyways, yeah, that's good. It's a challenge, and whenever God gives us a challenge, He always wants to open up more things to us.
Also das ist eine Herausforderung und wenn immer wir mit einer Herausforderung begegnet sind, ist es immer so, dass Gott möchte uns was weiteres zeigen.
So I'm always happy when these things come.
So ich bin immer fröhlich, wenn diese Herausforderungen auftreten.
Alright, then let's close with our prayer.
Dann lasst uns jetzt mit unserer Gebetsrunde